Today, we will master one of the trickiest parts of the PTE writing section. It's called Summarize the Written Text. I know you're going to agree with me. By the end of this video, you will learn how to summarize any paragraph into a one-sentence summary by keeping the main content intact. In this task, usually you're going to get one passage of about 200 to 300 words. Your job is to summarize the main points from that passage into one single sentence, which means one capital letter at the beginning of the sentence and one full stop at the end of the sentence. The word limit is 5 to 75 words, but ideally you'd want to keep it just 50 to 60 words. That's fine. You will get 10 minutes in total to read the passage, summarize it, and write the single sentence summary in the slot provided on the computer screen. Let's take a look at how you're going to be scored. This is the scoring rubric, and it shows that we need to focus on content. That means, are you putting the main ideas of the passage into your summary sentence? The second part is the form. You're gonna check that I'm keeping only one sentence. That is between 5 to 75 words and not more, not less. Then you're checking that the grammar and the spelling of the words you're using to write your summary are correct. The punctuation is correct. Do not use words that you're not sure of the spelling of. If you want to use complicated words from the passage, make sure that you are copying those key complicated words exactly and not misspelling them. When we say that we want to identify the main ideas of a passage, ask yourself these following questions. Who or what is this passage about? What is happening in this passage? What is the main incident or action in this passage? Why is it important? Or what is the result of that action? And you can look for the topic sentence, the beginning and the ending sentences of a passage sometimes will tell you exactly what the passage is about. That is the main idea of this passage. And that will be your lead in constructing your summary sentence. Sometimes there would be signal words in the passage. So a sentence might start like primarily, mainly, or it may say in conclusion, overall, therefore, however. And many times in the passages, those sentences tell you the main concept or idea in the passage. Your next step, once you have gathered your main points from the passage, is to connect those ideas logically. What do we mean by that? We mean that now we're going to use connecting phrases or words to link our main ideas into one single sentence. These words can be something that says opposition or contrast. For example, however, although. Or it could be a cause and effect linking word like therefore, thus, as a result. It could be a sequential connecting word such as and, moreover, furthermore, also. It could be an emphatic or emphasis-based word. In conclusion, overall, primarily, Words like this are called linking words. So now let's look at a formula of our summary. So our summary sentence will have our main idea. It will then have our additional or supporting ideas from the passage, all from the passage, and they will be connected by our linking phrase or connector words. An example can be this template. The passage discusses the topic, explaining that, our main idea, and some additional main or key ideas from the passage. That is one structure, right? That is one way of writing about things that has the main idea, and there are a few other smaller supporting ideas. The next way is a cause effect, like something that has resulted in something. So in that case, we have templates like this passage discusses topic, explaining that our main idea, resulting in the consequence, okay? That our main idea results in such and such. For example, global warming, for example, main idea of a passage, resulting in ice caps melting. That could be our consequence, right? We'll look at more summary examples later. The other situation or case could be using a contrast. In this case, the template is going to be like, the passage discusses topic, explaining that main idea, although contrast. Here are some simple template sentences. Now, it's very important when you're using templates to realize that you don't really have to blindly memorize any templates, right? These are just structures. These are not something you have to memorize. It really is the way you yourself are going to write when you have enough practice. These are very basic structures. You just keep the grammar right. You just have the idea of how to write a summary by looking at these templates and practicing at home, so that naturally during the exam, you will know exactly how to write. So this isn't even a template, really. It's something that helps guide your practice at home. So now, what are the common mistakes that we must avoid while we are writing our summary? Writing more than one sentence. Do not write more than one sentence. That means only one capital letter and only one full stop at the end. That is one complete sentence. You can do whatever you want in between. Use your commas, use your conjunctions, your linking phrases. That's all good, but you just need to make sure it is one single sentence. That is where your form is marked. We cannot miss the main idea. Keep in mind, the whole objective of this task is for the examiner to assess how well you understand the essence or the key idea of a given paragraph. We cannot use informal or unclear language. We cannot use wrong grammar or punctuation, or at least we should try our best to avoid it. If you have confusion about some sort of grammar or punctuation, don't use it. Use things that you are comfortable with. We should not use templates blindly. We have discussed this just previously. We should not use linking words incorrectly. Again, use words that you know how to use. We should not make the summary too long or too short. That is, we should keep between 5 to 75, ideally 50 to 60 words. We cannot copy exact sentences word by word from the passage. Now, what does this mean? It means we have to paraphrase. We can take keywords from the passage. We don't have to use synonyms of keywords. For example, if the passage is about climate change, global warming, artificial intelligence, revolution, something like that, we can keep the keywords, but we cannot copy exact word by word every key sentence that we think is important. We just copy and we link it up. We cannot do that. It will be detected and we will be marked down. So it has to be paraphrased to an extent. Now we're going to do a practice example. So we're going to work through this example together, and let's see how we can write a summary that is one sentence from this passage. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to read this passage. And how do we identify the main points in this passage? Let's go to the strategy we talked about before, which was we need to ask ourselves the questions. What is this passage about, right? What is happening? And whatever is happening, what is the result of that? So this passage, from the first and the last sentence, what can we see? Climate change poses a serious threat to global agriculture. That is the start of the passage. And we can instantly say that this passage is about climate change. That is the topic of this passage. The last sentence is, urgent action is needed to ensure sustainable agriculture and maintain global food supply for future generations. So we can tell that there is an urgency there. Something needs to be done and action needs to be taken. Our main idea would be climate change negatively impacts global crop yields. So if you read the passage, you would know. And I have highlighted in red in the passage while I was reading it. That is our main idea. And what are our supporting ideas? Supporting ideas are going to add to our main idea. It is more like an extension of our main idea. And in that passage we see we have a couple of supporting ideas, and again, we don't have to cover everything. There might be multiple supporting ideas, and there might be 5 supporting ideas. Among that, we can just pick 2 or 3, and we can still write a full mark summary. My summary does not have to be the exact same as your summary. So supporting ideas that I have identified here are developing countries are most vulnerable. Adaptation strategies are needed, like irrigation, drought-resistant crops, forecasting. And the other one is reducing greenhouse gas emission is crucial. These are my supporting ideas, and that's it. Now, I'm going to use some connectors here because there isn't any particular contrast here. So I'm going to use and to join my ideas. And my final summary is there. Climate change threatens global agriculture by reducing crop yields, particularly in developing countries, and urgent adaptation strategies, including improved irrigation, drought-resistant crops, forecasting methods, and emission reduction policies are required to mitigate adverse effects and ensure sustainable food production for future generations. I have used and, I have used including, particularly in developing countries. And I have used my conjunctions, my comma punctuations correctly. Let me know if you want more practice examples and, step-by-step guiding through those examples so that we can work through them together, and I will make more videos on that. Now, the next one is we just talk a bit about the timing strategy, just to remind you all that this is a timed exam. Time is crucial, and therefore practice is crucial. It's 10 minutes in total, so it's better if you practice at home according to that. So let's say our reading is 2 minutes. You don't have to read word by word, like every single word, but you should be able to skim the passage, understand what's going on. And then you do your execution. That is your right? You figure out what are the main ideas, what are supporting ideas, what kind of linking phrases we're going to use. Usually during the exam, you will be given a draft paper and a marker, and you just sort of take notes there. If you want, you can use that for this exact case. You can write down your main ideas very shortly, don't take too much time. And then you just do a last check. You've written it. What are our checks? Is it one sentence? Is there one capital letter or one full stop? Yes. Have I used my grammar correctly? Yes. Have I used my punctuation and my linking phrases correctly? Yes. Have I kept the main idea of the passage? Yes. So that's it for today and for this video. Like, share, subscribe if you love this video, and let me know what you want to learn next. And I will be making more videos every week.